Hey, fifth grade, for today's reading workshop lesson, we're going to be working out of Scholastic Scope. We're going to be working in the story that we just read. It was the short fiction story entitled Home. Today, we're going to be using the story itself to complete the character thinking tool. So to get started, the first thing we want to do is click on this link here. And this is going to take us to the Scholastic Scope site where I'm going to log in. I'm going to tell it that I'm a student. And then our password for this is HES5ELA, and it's all lowercase. Then I'll click sign in, and then that brings me to the story. It's really important that I have this story open in a tab as I'm working, because good readers, even if they caught lots of details when they read the story or when we read the story together, good readers always go back into the text to make sure that their evidence supports their thinking. So I'm going to go back to the tab now in Google Classroom where the assignment is created and the resources are there. And then I'm going to go over here to my work. This will have your name next to it. This is always where you'll find the things that you need to do or to turn in. And like I've said before, sometimes you do have to add or create something before turning it in. And then, of course, here's where you find the turn in button also. So once you complete this work, then you'll need to make sure you click the turn in button. But a lot of times when you're working on something of this nature, once you get going on it, sometimes there will be a button that will pop up here next to the share button that will say turn in. At this point, it doesn't look like that's going to happen for us. So you'll just have to return to the tab once you get this finished to click the turn in button. So let's jump back here to the assignment itself. It says, the questions in this activity are about the character of Alina. If you remember, this is the character that we read about in Home. And she is a young girl, and her family has adopted a child from another country. And this story is basically about the changes and the challenges that this experience presented for her. So you would just click in these text boxes to answer the questions. Of course, you would be going back into the selection to answer them. So when Alina arrives in Morocco, how is she feeling about adopting a younger brother, and how do you know? So let's go back to the actual selection. How about here? This first part, the introduction. A blast of heat hits my face as I walk out of our hotel into the fierce sunlight. We are visiting Morocco during the hottest month of the summer. Luckily, there's an air-conditioned taxi parked in the front of the building. I hop inside with my parents. Baba asks the driver in broken Arabic to take us to the hospital. He says hospital, but he means orphanage on the 5th floor of the hospital building in Memphis. We don't hear anything that tells us how she's feeling right here. We do get a lot of sensory details about the climate and the atmosphere, but we don't really get any details about how she's feeling. So we have to keep going. When my mom left our home in Virginia to visit the orphanage last year, I imagined it was like the one in the movie Annie. But Mama told me that it wasn't anything like that. There was no mean Miss Hannigan, no singing and dancing, and a lot more boys than girls. One of those boys was my new little brother, Hakeem, who I'm about to meet for the first time. We arrive in the square gray building, and there's no elevator, For the next few minutes, all we hear is the slap of our shoes against endless stone steps in the sweltering stairwell. At least we got a workout in today, right, Alina? Baba says to me. I'm too hot to smile at him. I'm carrying the raccoon backpack I brought for Hakeem and wearing my matching penguin one. Sweat is dripping down the back of my neck. When we finally reach the top floor, my heart is hammering in my chest. It's only partly because of the stairs. This is the moment I've been waiting for ever since my parents asked me and my older brother Bilal if we would welcome a 3-year-old boy into our family. It was an easy decision. I felt like I already knew Hakeem. We'd been getting photos and videos of this curly-haired kid with shiny brown eyes since my mom's first visit to the orphanage. All right, so we've gotten a few details here. She says that this is the moment that she has been waiting for ever since she was asked about welcoming a 3-year-old boy into their family. So there is one detail that shows us that she is excited and she can't wait to meet Hakeem. But if we keep reading, we'll get some more details. So now, almost a year later, we're bringing him home. Bilal's not here because he has a summer training with his soccer team and can't miss the first 4 days of his sophomore year of high school. I'm supposed to be starting middle school next week, but I wouldn't trade being here for anything. So there's a second detail that shows us that she is excited to meet Hakeem and that meeting Hakeem is very important to her. She's willing to give up some of her activities in order to be here for this. So we're going to jump back to the character thinking tool and we're going to type that Alina is very excited to meet Hakeem. And I'm going to make this bigger for you guys because that's tiny. There we go. Move myself down here. Alina is very excited to meet Hakeem. How do we know that? We know that because in the selection, it said, this is the day that I've been waiting for since my parents asked me about welcoming a 3-year-old. So she said that was a year ago. So I'm going to write, I know this because Alina mentions that this is the day she has been waiting for. And she also says that she wouldn't miss this day for anything in the world. Okay, so I've done the first one for you. I'm going to go ahead and read the next question. And I just want to point out that there are multiple questions here to answer. But it says, imagine you are Alina. You want to make Imagine you are Alina. You want to make a post on social media to update your friends back home on how things are going in Morocco. What will you say about meeting Hakeem for the first time? What short messages, hashtags, and photos will you include? Sketch your post in the space below. Okay, so you're not actually going to create a social media account for her. You're just pretending that you are. So it could be TikTok, it could be Twitter, it could be Facebook, and we just kind of want to see what you would post. You guys know how social media uses hashtags with catchy phrases regarding the post. Some of them are funny, some of them are clever. make sure you consider that. And then pictures are a big part of social media. So if you want to add a picture, you would do that by going to insert image, and then you would search on the web for a picture that would support your post. So really what you put here is up to you. So first think about what you would say about meeting him. And remember, she was pretty disappointed the first time she met him because she was so excited and she looked forward to this, but he had no idea who she was. And the gifts that she brought him weren't really of interest to him because he wasn't used to having things like that. So he didn't even realize that they were special or that they were gifts at all. He was more excited about seeing the red ball than he was Alina, and he really wasn't interested in the other things that she had brought for him. So you might post something along those lines, like hashtag big disappointment, or she felt slighted because he was more excited about the ball than he was about her. So anyway, I will leave you to it. I'm not going to take you through all of this tool because this is a way for you to show me what you know and understand about this character. But just make sure that you do go in and answer every single question. There are 3 pages or 3 slides for you to complete it. It's not difficult, especially if you bounce back and forth between the story and the assignment. Of course, when you're finished, you're going to come back to this tab and you're going to turn it in after it's completed. Please reach out if you have any questions or you need help with anything. I love and miss you guys.